Kylie Minogue has taken more than her fair share of tall poppy knocking. Initially derided as a singing budgie for her stream of manufactured hits, Kylie has undergone a remarkable transformation. Now, 10 years on, it might even be said that Kylie is cool.
It's a real power thing, someone being that small, but that sexy, but that vulnerable, but that in command. I mean, it really is an interesting thing.
Well, she's a kind of dream of sex. The nasty smells and fluids have sort of been antiseptically removed somewhat.
She doesn't hang her dirty laundry out in public, as my mum would say.
There's an erotic pull to it, but it doesn't seem to lead to any of the messiness.
But no one can say the bird doesn't work. She's a grafter.
Clever girl.
After 15 years' toil at the coalface of pop, Kylie Minogue is at the peak of a spectacular career of reinvention. Tonight we take a closer look at the many incarnations of Ms. Minogue.
The chameleon like Kylie.
Cute Kylie.
Singing budgie.
Kylie Monger.
Indie Kylie.
Meta Kylie.
Sex Kylie.
Alternative Kylie.
Deconstruction Kylie.
Disposable Kylie.
Because she's just the ultimate Barbie doll. You just want to dress her up and play with her.
But who dresses her up and who plays with whom? Tonight we look for some answers and find some surprising new sides to Kylie Minogue.
Come and see the real thing. Come and see the come and see. I am the real thing.
The returning boomerang, or Kylie, was not used as a weapon, but simply as a plaything for sport. For years, the peculiar flight of the Kylie intrigued and puzzled mathematicians and scientists all over the world, until it was found that the returning property was due to the contra twist, thin, well-balanced, and deeply curved. The Kylie will now be a valuable item for trade.
Kylie is still a deeply curved object of value that always comes back. They've even tried to clone her in the latest incarnation of a career that began somewhere called the 80s in a land far, far away. For most of its history, Australian pop music was in a mildly upsetting league of its own.
This is it now, the kangaroo down.
But in 1986, this was all about to change, thanks to a fictional band featuring soap stars, a second-hand synthesizer, and some very scary haircuts.
The basic of the story was that Jason and Guy, playing their parts in Neighbours, wrote a song, and they got Charlene, a la Kylie, to sing on the demo tape.
I mean, we're always on the lookout for new talent, and thanks to Scott here, we might just have struck gold with you.
Me? You want me?
That's right.
I could be a singer.
It's great.
I don't believe it.
In retrospect, it was art imitating art, you know.
One more for me, all right?
By this stage, the real-life Kylie had taken her first tentative steps towards a singing career, thanks to Young Talent Time, a hormone-crazed adolescence fronted by her kid sister.
The irony of Young Talent Time was that Danny was the one who went into that first and became a star, you know, on Australian screens every Saturday night. She was the one, and when Kylie was introduced to it, it was, you know, here's Danny's big sister, Kylie.
I was listening to some of the people from Network 10 talking about her the other day. She's developed into a fine young actress, isn't she? What's she doing now? She's got a part in...
Neighbours.
In Neighbours.
But as time went on and Kylie became a TV star at the same time, the roles changed slightly and Kylie became the star.
Having superseded her sister, Kylie was planning to do it for herself and go solo.
Kylie remarked that she wanted to record a song. And I said to her at the time, why would you want to do that? And she said, well, you know, I've been thinking about singing for a while and I think it's something I'd like to do. And I asked her what song she had in mind, and she mentioned to me at the time Locomotion. And I think I said something like, oh, Kylie, you know, you've got to concentrate on one thing or another. It can't be both acting and singing. You know, famous last words.
But single-minded Kylie recorded it anyway, with air guitar maestro Kai Dahlstrom. This was 1987, when the driving dance beats were all the rage, so modern. But Kai's programmed to rock.
They called back and said, could you change it a bit like a Bananarama type feel? And I said, no, I can't, because I haven't got the equipment to do that. And they took it to Mike Duffy.
I would have certainly, at that time, I was very much, stuff I was working with Dead or Alive, and I really went to Dead or Alive and High Energy. So I certainly wanted to take it that direction.
The Locomotion was a huge Australian smash.
I guess choosing the song Locomotion proves that in the middle of whatever Kylie is, she has some kind of understanding of a popular touch. And her instincts were correct at a time when she was very young, and things were obviously being thrust at her, and there were many people around who possibly wanted to exploit that temporary fame. But within that, she had enough instinct to cope with it and drive it in a way that in the long run has been good for her.
And all Kai was left with were his memories. Oh. Meanwhile, 19-year-old Kylie was summoned to London to work on pop's most ruthlessly efficient production line, where they almost forgot to record the biggest-selling single of 1988.
She'd been in the country for 2 weeks, as I understood it, and she was in the hotel, waiting for a call.
I'd gone to Manchester for a day, and Mike Stopp called me.
I said, Pete, have you forgotten to tell me something? And he said, oh.
You know, and I said, well, you know, you'll have to tell her to go and come back.
All we were thinking was get her on the tape, get her on the plane, and worry about what we've got afterwards. It took 40 minutes for the discussion to happen and for the song to be written. When I analysed it, I remembered a phrase, if you're lucky at cards, you're unlucky in